However, I'm going to take a few minutes to talk about the passing of what I'm going to say is a Texas country musician legend. And yes, I'm using the L word intentionally. So a few days ago, Charlie Robinson passed at the age of 59 due to cardiac arrest. He has had health issues for 10 years now. If you don't know who Charlie is, here's what I want you to know as a fan of Texas country music and as a fan of Charlie's. So in the early 2000s, 2001, 2002, there was an enormous wave of new Texas country artists. I'm not talking about the outlaw movement in the 70s with Waylon Williams. I'm talking about local Texas country guys that put a bit of rock edge into it. And there was Wade Bowen, Cross Canadian Ragweed, Reckless Kelly, Randy Rogers, Stoney LaRue, Jason Bolin. That group in the early 2000s, all in their young early 20s. Before that, I think there were three folks who were instrumental, sort of the grandfathers of today's Texas country music. Mm-hmm. And those people are the band The Great Divide from Oklahoma, Red Dirt, Robert Earl Keen, and Charlie Robinson. Mm-hmm. Those are the three guys that created the doorway for all those wonderful bands that are killing it right now.
Would you have to put like Townes Van Zandt in there too?
Oh, no. Well, Townes was 70s and 80s,
yeah.
I think.
Yeah, a little later.
I think he was, fair. Yeah, he's his own category. He's a special guy.
He is a bit of his own category.
So Charlie was born and raised in Texas. He's like one of those 6th or 7th generation guys. He was from Bandera, where you were last night.
So weird. So wild.
And he has a brother named Bruce Robinson, who's they're both amazing songwriters. Bruce wrote... I don't know always why we always have to be angry all the time. That Tim McGraw.
A great song.
He also Bruce wrote "Traveling Soldier" by the Dixie Chicks. Charlie wrote some amazing, very personal, touching songs, and he put out a solo album in 1996. All those bands I just mentioned came out in the early 2000s, and Charlie. In the beginning, was a little bit jealous of those bands because of how they skyrocketed ahead of them. There were some words pushed back and forth between him and those guys. They made up. He became one of the gang. But I will tell you this. On our radio show, our YouTube channel, I talk a lot about Texas country music. I talk a lot about Reckless Kelly. I talk about Cross Canadian Ragweed, Robert O'Keen. The person and the song that got me into Texas country music was Charlie Robinson. He was the first guy that I became intellectually and emotionally aware of. It was a song called My Hometown, and it came out in a time when I was in my 20s, and it was, hey, if I don't see you today, maybe I'll see you here, maybe I'll see you here, maybe I'll see you here, maybe I'll see you back in my hometown. And it's talking about how you're getting older in life and you don't get to see your friends and families as much as you used to. And that was a very while 20s is fun for a lot of folks, it was a very difficult time for me. I was transitioning late in life in terms of graduating college and getting started in my career in life while my friends were moving on from me. And so Charlie was the very first guy that reached out to me with a completely new genre of music, which then turned on to be later in life my favorite genre of music that I'd listen to. And he's the guy. Cool. One song pulled me in, and the next thing I know, I'm driving from Dallas at the time to Green Hall, discovering all these bands in the late 90s, early 2000s, and I became a huge fan. And I've seen Charlie live many, many, many times. As he got older, he slowed down. He had to retire because he got vocal nodes on his throat. He had to retire. Then he stepped aside for 5 or 6 years. Then he came back, but he still struggled with health. And unfortunately, Charlie passed away just a couple of days ago in San Antonio at the age of 59, just a few days after he turned 59. So,
yeah, well,
it sucks.
That's a wonderful story, and it shows the impact that music and the arts has on us and how it can really define a moment of our lives and history. And it really defined kind of who you were and in that transitional moment, which is so cool. So I always love hearing stories.
I'll take it one. This is shorter. I'll take it one more step. So I have made, I think, 4 homemade movies on iMovies, Facebook, that kind of thing, as like family keepsakes as, my kids were growing up. And the songs I've used 4 artists. One is the Beatles, Here Comes the Sun. 2 of them are from My Chemical Romance.
Oh,
that's
of course, Darren.
called
And then the rest are
Summertime.
from Miley Cyrus.
And then Get Up and Go. And then the third is Charlie Robinson.
It's not Miley Cyrus?
No. So
that's
I have 3 artists across 4 videos that
awesome.
I have deemed their music worthy of my family. You know, the
to be a
the
part of your
videos are
life
only
forever.
the videos are only valuable to me and my
you.
family. But I've only
that's-
deemed one of them. Yeah,
It's the sign of great art when somebody
Right.
really, when you use it in your life to define towards things, especially generationally and stuff. It's actually a really beautiful compliment. I see what you're saying.
So
and
we are gonna
that's
right.
very
That's
cool.
I mean it as a compliment. And what I want from this comment, and again, you're listening to 94.3 FM Wimberley Valley Radio, Darren and Mike show. What I want from this eulogy, or what I don't even know what we're going to call it, but what I want from this remembrance about Charlie is this. I think because he was 5 years ahead of this giant wave of Texas country music, and because he's one of the grandfathers of Texas country music, he gets forgotten about, and that's unfortunate. And I want people to realize all these William Clark Greens and everybody else, that these young guys in there, Charlie was the guy that kicked down that door to make it much easier for you to get radio play and mainstream acceptance in Texas. Charlie Robinson was that guy, and so you need to take a minute and say thank you to this guy. But the song we're going to play, and it was very difficult for me to figure out which song to choose. But the song we played is called "Photograph," and it's a song about him wanting to capture photos and showing to his kids, so they can see what he looked like when they were little kids. And it's a beautiful song. It's very touching. And that's the one I created a little homemade movie, the same thing, so my kids could see what I looked like when they were small.
Oh,
So,
I love it. I love it.
Anyway, that's a big downer. Charlie Robinson, rest in power, brother.
But it's an upper too, and it's the impact that great art has on us. So
Yep.
absolutely.
So, yeah, we're about halfway through September 12th, 2023. You're listening to Darren and Mike.